Welcome back to the Music in Our Homeschool podcast, friends. Today we are talking about how the piano keyboard helps students understand music theory better. Last week, I talked about the 3 music theory courses that I have through Music in Our Homeschool. So if you didn't hear that one, you'll definitely want to go back and check out last week's episode, number 68. But today, let's talk about the piano keyboard. When it comes to learning music theory, few tools are as helpful and accessible as a piano keyboard. Whether your child is just beginning their music education or has already started learning to read music, the visual and hands-on nature of the piano makes abstract music concepts much easier to grasp. In fact, incorporating even a small keyboard into your homeschool routine can dramatically boost your child's confidence and comprehension of music theory. So let's explore that today. If you are a homeschooler looking for ways to easily and affordably include a quality music education in your homeschool, you've come to the right place. This is the Music in Our Homeschool podcast. I'm Gena Mayo, homeschooling mom of 8 and music teacher for over 30 years. Why the piano keyboard is so helpful in learning music theory is that it makes music visible. One of the biggest hurdles for students in learning music theory is that music is mostly an invisible language, symbols on a page, and sounds that disappear after they're played. But with a piano keyboard, music becomes something they can see and touch. Each key represents a specific pitch, and the layout of the keyboard itself provides a clear visual pattern of how music works. This is something that is in contrast to, say, a guitar or trumpet, which also play the pitches, but they're not laid out in a pattern in a visual way that works with how music actually works. For instance, when students learn about major and minor scales, they often struggle to understand the sequence of whole and half steps. When they see the scales on the keyboard, though, physically playing and seeing the pattern of white and black keys, they start to see how music is organized. Concepts like whole steps, half steps, sharps, flats, and then key signatures begin to click because students can see and hear the difference as they play. The visual and tactile feedback helps students move from rote memorization to real understanding of the patterns and organization of music. Number 2 is that it reinforces note names and pitch relationships. Learning note names can be confusing when using only flashcards or apps or worksheets. The piano keyboard provides a consistent reference point that reinforces learning. Students can clearly see that the musical alphabet that goes from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, repeats every 7 white keys. And the black keys on the keyboard follow a repeating pattern of groups of 2s and 3s. This makes it easier to find and identify any note on the keyboard. Once students can quickly locate notes on the piano keyboard, they begin to make connections between those notes and the placement on the musical staff, the 5 lines and 4 spaces with a treble clef or a bass clef in front of it. This bridges the gap between what they see in written music and the actual pitches that they are playing or singing. They also begin to understand pitch relationships, how notes go higher as they move to the right on the keyboard and lower as they move to the left. This foundational knowledge makes reading music more intuitive and prepares students to move confidently into more advanced music theory topics. The third reason why using a piano keyboard for learning music theory is important is because it builds a foundation for harmony. Harmony is the way that the notes combine to create chords and chord progressions, and it's an essential part of music theory. The piano makes harmony easy to see and hear as well. Unlike instruments such as the flute or the trumpet, which can only play one note at a time, the piano allows students to play multiple notes simultaneously. you are creating the harmony with only one instrument. This makes it ideal for learning about intervals, triads, and chord progressions. When students place their fingers on a C major chord, C, E, and G, they can see the spacing and feel the difference between a major third and a minor third just by lowering from E to E flat. They can build chords in root position and then easily invert them to hear and see how chords change shape but maintain their identity. This hands-on experimentation strengthens understanding and makes harmony less mysterious. It makes it more approachable. And the fourth reason why using the piano keyboard is essential for music theory is that it makes it accessible even for beginners. You don't have to be a piano expert or even a trained musician to use the keyboard for music theory. Even a small 49-key keyboard is enough to introduce these basic concepts that I've been talking about today. Kids as young as 2 or 3 years old can begin exploring high and low pitches, matching notes with finger numbers, and understanding how music moves across the keys. This is exactly what my friend Kari Greger does in her KinderBach program, which is now exclusively sold through Music in Our Homeschool. So if you've got a little one, definitely go check out KinderBach, musicinourhomeschool.com/KinderBach, KinderBach, like Bach the composer. I also have the other music theory courses that I mentioned last week, Beginning Music Theory for Elementary and Beginning Music Theory for Teens. And both of those use the keyboard, the piano keyboard, as a companion tool to understand scales, intervals, whole steps, chords, rhythm exercises. The keyboard becomes a bridge between theory and practice, helping students apply what they're learning in a fun, interactive, and very easy to understand way. So, for final thoughts here, if you are teaching music theory in your homeschool, don't underestimate the value of a simple piano keyboard. I will tell you that even when I was a music major, if I didn't have access to a keyboard in my dorm room, for example, I would just have a paper keyboard or I would draw one on a piece of paper. That's how essential it became for me in understanding the music theory concepts and applying them to the work I was doing. You have a living diagram of music right at your fingertips, one that reveals the patterns and relationships and structure behind the sounds. With just a few minutes of keyboard time each week, your student can deepen their understanding, build stronger musical foundations, and develop a lifelong love of music, which is, I think, a goal for all of us. So thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about using the piano keyboard for music theory or anything else related to music education in your homeschool, please send me an email at gena@musicinourhomeschool.com. That's Gena with an E. And be sure to check the show notes or description for links to everything that I've talked about in today's episode. Until next time, keep the music alive.